The worst part wasn't what he did to me, it was how long he'd been planning it. When people hear the word betrayal, they imagine a single moment. A confrontation. A confession. A clean break. This wasn't that. This was quiet. Patient. Measured. And by the time I understood what was happening, every exit was already sealed. We met when we were young, too young to think about consequences or endings. Over time, he became permanent. Not just a friend, but a fixture in my life. We shared keys. Passwords. Long conversations that stretched past midnight. He knew my fears before I said them out loud. He knew which truths I buried and which lies I told myself to survive. For over a decade, I never doubted him. Not once. Because doubt doesn't live where trust feels earned. And that's the part people don't understand. This didn't happen all at once. It unfolded slowly, through ordinary days, inside moments that felt harmless. There were signs. Of course there were. Missed calls that never got returned. Stories that changed just enough to sound reasonable. That look on his face when I asked simple questions. I brushed it all away. There's one moment I replay more than any other. A moment that felt insignificant at the time. A moment that only makes sense now. That was the moment everything shifted. Even though I had no idea yet. He and I met in high school, in that awkward, messy phase where everyone is figuring out who they are. He was quiet at first, the kind of person you didn't notice unless you paid attention. I did. Our connection wasn't instant. It grew in layers, through shared lunches, late-night study sessions, whispered secrets about crushes and fears we couldn't tell anyone else. We laughed over things no one else would understand. Silly, stupid things that later became jokes only we shared. It wasn't just friendship, it was a lifeline. We went through more than most people expect from childhood. Family struggles. Bad days at school. Moments where I thought the world was collapsing. He was always there. If I was falling, he would catch me. And if he was falling, I'd catch him. There were moments that, at the time, seemed ordinary. I remember the time I failed that big exam, the one I'd studied for every night for weeks. He stayed up with me until 2 a.m. Going over notes, quizzing me, just so I could feel like I wasn't alone. He never asked for anything in return. Not once. And when I think back, that's why it hurts so much. Because I trusted him with things I hadn't shared with anyone else. I told him fears I buried deep. I shared dreams I didn't dare speak out loud. He knew the parts of me I kept hidden, and I thought I knew him, too. There were small acts of loyalty, almost invisible if you weren't paying attention. The time he drove 2 hours just to make sure I got to a job interview on time. The day he defended me when no one else would. The night he sat silently beside me after my parents argued, knowing nothing needed to be said. I thought loyalty looked like this. I thought trust looked like this. He became my anchor, my safety net, the one person I could lean on without hesitation. And yet, the truth I shared with him, the one thing I'd never told anyone else, was the key he used. The very thing that would make everything unravel. For years, everything felt seamless. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, small things began to change. Little lies. Tiny inconsistencies. Stories that didn't match up, but were easy to dismiss. He would insist he'd done one thing while evidence said another, and I'd catch myself questioning reality. I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Then came the defensive reactions. A simple question would trigger irritation, almost overcompensation. Why are you asking that? Are you serious? Moments like that were fleeting, but they planted doubt, like a seed buried in soft soil. There were gaps in timing I couldn't explain. Plans that changed at the last minute. Stories that left out small details. At first, I chalked it up to forgetfulness, or stress, or a busy schedule. Even his personality shifted, subtle, almost imperceptible. He grew quieter when I wanted honesty. A smile that didn't reach the eyes. Moments where I felt the warmth I knew so well was receding. And the more I trusted him, the more I questioned myself. Am I overreacting? Am I imagining things? It was a subtle gaslighting of the everyday kind, nothing dramatic, just enough to make me second-guess my instincts. Plausible deniability coated every incident like a thin layer of sugar. At the time, I thought I was overthinking. I wasn't. This is the part where most people would walk away. I didn't. And that choice, staying, forgiving, rationalizing, was what allowed the next chapter to unfold. Because by the time the cracks became impossible to ignore, I was already too invested. The cracks didn't explode, they crept. By this point, he was in every corner of my life. Not by force, not overtly, but in ways I welcomed. He gave advice on things I never imagined I'd discuss: job decisions, finances, even personal relationships. I didn't question it. I thought he had my best interest at heart. But slowly, that guidance began to tilt. It benefited him more than it benefited me. Opportunities one might have taken were discouraged, not ready, not safe, maybe later. Decisions that seemed harmless nudged me closer to paths that strengthened his control, not my independence. The irony was cruel, my trust deepened exactly when it shouldn't have. Every small success I had, he was there, praising me. Every failure, he was there, comforting me. I believed I needed him. I leaned on him without realizing the subtle trap it created. He made me feel indispensable. I felt that without him, I would falter, stumble, maybe even collapse. It's a strange thing, to feel so secure with someone, only to find that security was manufactured. And then there was the decision that changed everything. A choice I thought was mine alone, but wasn't. A moment I wish I could undo. It seemed insignificant at the time. A minor action in the rhythm of our lives. But it gave him access to a part of me I had sworn to protect. And once that door was open, nothing would ever be the same. It seemed like an ordinary choice at the time. A career move, something I'd dreamed about for years. A chance to finally step into my own future. He encouraged it with enthusiasm I couldn't question. Now is the perfect time. You've earned this. You'll thank yourself later. I trusted him. I believed his guidance was selfless, that he wanted what was best for me. So I made the decision. Moved forward, signed the papers, committed fully. And for a while, everything felt right. Excitement, possibility, pride. I thought I was finally standing on my own. But underneath it all, the stakes were quietly escalating. Every recommendation he'd given, every nudge toward this choice, aligned perfectly with his interests. I didn't see it then. I couldn't see it. What I didn't know was that this decision benefited him the most, and I was walking straight into it. Have you ever trusted someone so completely that you stopped questioning them? It's a question that hits harder in hindsight. Because the truth is, I didn't just trust him. I handed him the map to my life, and he knew exactly how to use it. At first, it was tiny things. A misplaced email. A detail that didn't line up with what he had said. A conversation I remembered differently from how he remembered it. I brushed it off. Maybe I was misremembering. Maybe it was nothing. But then, pieces started coming from other sources. A colleague, a mutual friend, a casual comment that didn't fit the story I had been told. I tried to reconcile it. My mind wanted it to make sense. I wanted him to make sense. The evidence didn't fully add up yet. Nothing was concrete. Nothing was undeniable. But the feeling, the gnawing unease in my stomach, was impossible to ignore. A slow, creeping dread that something had shifted in ways I couldn't reverse. I told myself I was imagining it. Denial became my shield. I tried to rationalize every inconsistency, every strange behavior. I needed to believe he was still the person I had trusted for over a decade. Then came the confrontation. A quiet, carefully worded question. A moment that would have seemed insignificant to anyone else, but not to me. His reaction said everything. The pause. The shift in tone. The too smooth explanation. I felt it then, the full weight of what had been happening all along. I couldn't ignore it anymore. The foundation I had built my life on was trembling, and I realized I was standing right at the edge. I asked the question I'd avoided for weeks, the one that had been eating at me. Calmly. Carefully. No accusations, just truth-seeking. His response was measured. He didn't apologize. He explained. Every word was precise, almost surgical. Not a hint of regret, only rationale. Every inconsistency, every manipulation, every small lie that had crept into my life for years, it had been intentional. Planned. Gradual. Calculated. At first, I thought I could argue. I tried to find loopholes, excuses, reasons to disbelieve. But the clarity came slowly, in the silence that followed his words. The truth didn't hit like a scream or a crash. It settled. Cold. Quiet. Relentless. Everything I had trusted, every choice I had made thinking it was mine, had been influenced, guided, exploited. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a lapse in judgment. It had been happening for years. The weight of it didn't come from shock. It came from the realization that the person I had loved, relied on, and confided in had been shaping my life for his own ends all along. The moment the betrayal settled into reality, everything else shifted. It wasn't just him I lost. It was the life I thought I had, the safety I felt, the unshakable trust one carried. Collateral damage appeared in quiet ways. Mutual friends hesitated, choosing sides, or simply stepping back to avoid the tension entirely. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly now felt heavy, loaded with unspoken questions. Even small interactions became exercises in caution. I found myself questioning more than him. Every friendship, every act of kindness, every piece of advice, could it be genuine? Trust became a currency I no longer spent freely. And the hardest part? The version of myself that trusted easily, that believed in loyalty without a second thought, was gone. I didn't just lose a friend. I lost a version of myself. The realization was quiet but relentless. A lingering ache in the space between what was and what I had believed could be. Yet, somewhere in that emptiness, there was a spark. A chance to rebuild, to redefine, to learn to trust again, but on terms I controlled. Betrayal isn't dramatic. It doesn't always scream. It waits. Patient. Rational. Quietly weaving itself into ordinary days until the moment it's undeniable. It looks like loyalty, but it isn't. It masquerades as familiarity, as guidance, as care. It takes the trust you give freely and bends it to its own design, until you realize the difference too late. Looking back, I see it clearly now. The secret I shared. The decision I made thinking it was mine. The long-term plan I never knew existed. Every piece fits together. Every seemingly small act, every gentle nudge, every reassurance, it all had a purpose. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't coincidence. It was intentional, precise, and calculated. And yet, there's a lesson here, not a moral, not a warning, but a truth about human nature. Trust is powerful. And when it's taken, it can reshape your world completely. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, you're not alone. And if you want another true story that unravels slowly, with layers of trust, secrets, and calculated betrayal, subscribe to my channel and comment part 2. Because sometimes the quietest betrayals leave the loudest scars.